College is more than a place. It's a journey. Welcome to the Two Night Show, where we explore the moments and ideas that shape us and the impact we make through conversations with Green Knights and other inspiring voices. What does it take to be the NCAA Division III all-time leading scorer? Today, I sit down with St. Norbert College soccer legend Katie Guns to talk about her record-breaking career, the lessons she's learned, and what comes after life on the field. Katie, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Happy to be here.
All right. So, Katie, you have had a number of roles. You grew up on campus. You're local. You're from the area. Mm-hmm. You were a student. You were a student athlete. Your first job was at St. Norbert, second job out of college?
No, long way around. Took me a while to get back here.
Okay, got it. So you worked in advancement, and now you're in athletics. Mm-hmm. So I kind of want to start with growing up at St. Norbert.
Okay.
So what was your calling to come here? How did you know about the school?
So a lot of my family members have come here. My mom graduated from here. I have some cousins who graduated from here. And then more recently, my older brother, who is another assistant coach, he graduated from here in 2009. Obviously, being from De Pere and having been exposed to St. Norbert most of my life, I didn't think I was going to come to St. Norbert. I blew up my knee in high school at the worst possible time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, as a junior, right before my junior season. So I didn't think I was going to go to St. Norbert. I thought, I'd probably go a little further from home to play soccer. And after I blew up my knee, I went to one school close to here, and they said they didn't know who I was and I could try out and I'd probably get cut. So
that's funny.
St. Norbert was the only place that asked me to be on the roster. So I knew my brother had a great experience, especially as a soccer player, but that family and friends have also had great experiences here as students. So I knew it would be a good fit for me. It just wasn't what I had planned on.
Right.
So I pivoted and I came here, and it turned out to be the best thing that happened to me. So.
Wow. Okay. I actually did not know that. That is really cool. I also want to come back to the fact that your brother is one of your assistant coaches.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's kind of, I feel like I'm living in a dream sometimes. So our coaching staff is three of my favorite people. My brother Ben, he graduated from here in 2009. My best friend Ellie, who was a teammate of mine for 3 years, she graduated in 2014. And our new staff member this fall will be another close friend, TJ Anstead. He played basketball here for one season, but he was here for all 4 years. So to have a full staff of alumni is pretty incredible. I don't know that any other staff has that. Just to say, we've really been through what you've been through. We know what you're going through. I think it makes it really relatable for players to say okay, they've been in my shoes and they really know what I'm experiencing. So I think it's really unique, and it's a lot of fun.
It's very valuable for the current students. Like you said, they're going to walk in your shoes. They're going to understand
for sure.
what you guys went through. You're going to be able to relate to your student athletes.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So student athlete, you were coming to St. Norbert, not just for soccer, mm-hmm. but for academics. What was your major?
Communication.
Okay, got it. And what did you have a plan with what you wanted to do with that?
No. So my dad was a communication major.
Okay.
My brother was as well. And it was all it was focused around the fact that I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but that the major would help me kind of no matter what I ended up doing. And then I also minored in business administration and leadership studies. So I just tried to round it out because I really had no idea what I wanted to do. My path to get back to St. Norbert, as I said, was a little crazy. I was in real estate, and then I was in insurance, and then I was in packaging, and then I was in product management, and then product management thankfully led me back to being a data analyst and an advancement here.
Okay, and then from advancement, you went to athletics.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Now that brings us back to St. Norbert. Why did you want to come back here? What was that big draw for you?
I think part of it was that since I had been in college, my mom had been working here, and just the camaraderie and the people who they're not just your coworkers, but they're also your friends, the people you spend your time with on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And just that kind of feel, and just being back on campus, that feeling of, how tight knit it is, and how just it feels like being home.
Yeah, I get that. So now let's kind of go back in time. You talked about the fact that you were on the soccer team. You played 4 years here, but it was a little bit broken up from what I can remember.
Yes.
What can you tell everybody listening what kind of happened with that?
So when I played my freshman, sophomore, junior years like normal. And then at the start of my senior season, I went through our preseason. And then right before our first couple games, like I had some shin pain that was getting to be unbearable. I had an MRI, found out I had stress fractures in my tibia, my right leg. Then soon found out it was also in my left leg. So
oh my gosh,
I was not as planned, not playing my senior year. I was instead in a wheelchair, navigating my way around campus.
That must have been incredibly difficult.
It was humbling, but I had a classmate who was in a wheelchair for life, and she lived in my dorm, so I tried to suck it up as much as I could and never let anybody push me and that kind of stuff. But it was definitely difficult to have, especially for my teammates, like my class, my closest friends, Emily and Caitlin and Sarah, that I didn't get to finish out with them. But then in the long run, I think it turned out to be a blessing. I had skipped a semester of school as a sophomore. And so I was supposed to graduate in December of 2015 regardless.
Oh, no way. Okay.
So then when I was injured, our coach Dennis said, just like, let's not even try. Let's just don't push yourself. Like, it's not worth it. Take the semester off, like heal, and then, come back next fall. So that like time between my junior season and the senior season that I played felt like an eternity, but I'm glad that I got to do it that way and didn't just have to say, no, I'm graduating and I'm missing my senior year.
That's a really incredible perspective. Some people might think, okay, and I'm going to get to your accolades that you've accomplished here in a second, but to not only have your senior or your junior year of high school when you had your injury, and then your junior year of college and into senior year.
Yeah, senior.
To triumph over those injuries, like that shows a lot about the person that you are, the athlete that you are.
It was not fun, but in hindsight, like it definitely changed me for the better.
Awesome. Well, that's great for student athletes to hear. Okay, so let's get to your soccer accolades. I know Katie is one of the most humble people you're going to meet. So she's probably not going to like this, but I'm going to list off.
My face is going to turn red.
Yeah, I'm going to list off some of your accolades. There's a huge list. So we were the Midwest Conference back when you played. So you are on the Midwest Conference Top 100 list. You're an All-American, academic All-American. Your jersey is retired on the football and soccer stadium field. You were named Player of the Year a number of times, and here's the really big one, guys. The D3 all-time leading scorer for women's soccer.
Yep.
And is that still today?
Yes, I think the only reason it's still standing is because of the COVID year. Somebody was getting close.
Okay.
But it didn't happen. So when it happened to me, the coolest thing that happened was the player whose record I broke, she called me.
No way.
To congratulate me.
That's
and that was
so cool.
like, that was so special. And she said jokingly, like she had just been inducted into her college Hall of Fame the weekend before. So she was like, I really appreciate you waiting until this week to break the record because I got inducted as the all-time leading scorer. Because, like she'd been out of school 10 years and it had lasted that long. But so that was probably the coolest thing, that she made sure she got in touch with me and like made a point to say like, I know how hard that was. Like, I'm so proud of you. I've been watching closely. Like that was really cool.
Wow. And she probably got a sense for the kind of person that you are in that conversation too, and it makes it that much more bittersweet that you are the person that broke the record. That is so cool.
Her name was Katie too. So
no way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What school did she go to?
Oh, I'd have to look it up again. She was somewhere in Texas.
Okay, got it. So she got to play all year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So we talked about your injuries. As a student athlete here at St. Norbert, you really are a student before you are an athlete. And that comes with sacrifice. Can you kind of talk us through the challenges that you faced as a student athlete to try to put your academics first?
I would say that, honestly, I say this to recruits all the time, but having been an athlete my whole life, I think I did better in college academically because I continued to be an athlete, because that time management, like it just ramps up in college, but that it helps you so much to make sure you're on track with homework and grades and like preparing for tests. And I think that that's like one of the beauties of D3 athletics, is that you do get to be a student first, but you can do it all. So I always say that there's nothing better than D3 athletics, really, to be able to do well in my classes and not have soccer hinder that in any way, but at the same time still getting to do what I love at a super high level and being very competitive.
Exactly. And your coaches hold you accountable. Your teammates especially hold you accountable.
Right.
I remember with the softball team, we used to have study groups, like a couple times a week.
Yep.
We'd come to the library and we'd do that.
Yeah, we
and
would do the same thing.
Yeah. Like that is something that's really special because your team is like your family and they hold
Well, and
you
even now,
accountable.
like seeing it on the bus, like, you know, we'll get on the bus the first few weeks of the season and like players will be rowdy on the bus. And then all of a sudden it's like we get on the bus once and everyone's really quiet. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh, it's midterms. That makes sense. They're all studying. So like they do a good job. And like it was the same when I was in school, that like to really focus on that and like know when it's time to have fun and when it's time to be serious. And I think that prepares you so much for like what adult life is like.
Now you've been on the other side of that. You've been the student. How are you as a coach going to implement, I guess, like a strategy for making sure that your athletes are
actually something that started a few years ago with a previous coach, Bob Rickards. We started an agreement on our team, something called Green Days. So if you need a day to take for yourself and you can't make practice, you can just send a text to a coach and say, hey, I'm taking a green day today. We offer support, but no questions asked. And it can be, you didn't sleep enough last night, you're sick, you have a huge test to study for, whatever it may be. We're trying to empower the players to make their own decisions to prepare them for the real world. So if you're telling me that practice today is not as important as getting a good grade on this bio test you have tomorrow and you need to study, that's your decision. And you have to deal with the ramifications of that. You know, if you're a starter and you miss the practice before a game,
Yeah.
probably not going to start tomorrow.
Right.
But if to you it's more important to get a good grade on that bio test, as it should be, you need to do what you need to do and you have to make your own decisions. So it's been really, really powerful. And there are some players who don't take advantage of it and there are some players who do. But, you know, even when somebody's sick or when somebody's like, you can just tell like something happened at home and they haven't been sleeping well, like to take care of themselves first. And I think that sets them up so well for the future to know, like, sometimes it's hard to say I can't do all of the things I'm supposed to do, but you have to look out for yourself and do what's in your own best interest.
That's the beauty of D3 athletics.
Absolutely.
Right there. That's
Yes.
the beauty of St. Norbert.
Right. I say that to anybody. If you don't come to St. Norbert, just go D3.
Yeah, that's a great route.
I love it.
Exactly. So let's look ahead to your first season, your first full season as the head coach. What are you looking forward to the most?
I think it's the biggest thing for me is previously I was the assistant coach and also doing data and advancement full time. So 40 hours a week of data and then soccer. So far, the thing that I love the most is just being able to have a one-track mind. I've got kids. I've got a lot of other things going on in my life.
Yeah,
so
that's another thing. You're
right,
a mom.
So just to feel like I can focus on one thing and put all of my energy into the soccer program, like that's what's most exciting to me, is to have the time to do everything that we've done in the past and just try to do it with a little bit more time and energy. I think like our whole program is just going to be elevated. So It's really exciting.
That's very cool. Now you just got back from California.
Yep.
You've been recruiting.
Sunburnt.
Yes, I'm very jealous. How is everything looking so far?
Really good. Technically our roster's full for the season. We could squeeze in one or two more. We might have one California player who decided they want to come here and brave the snow. But the season's looking really good. Our returners are amazing. They have put in the hard work in the off season. Our captains are amazing. I think we have a ton of momentum right now, and that's probably going to be the best part of this fall is just to see what we can do on the momentum we already have.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now you were a part of a team, and you're still a part of a team. How do you think that being a part of a team for so long, for so many years of your life, has helped prepare you for not only your current role as the head coach, but also like being an alum, being an adult?
I think the ability to communicate with anybody and like find ways to get on the same page with people, even if they're very different from you, in order to like achieve the same goals. Like it's even in real estate, even in insurance, even in, in packaging, like people aren't always going to be your best friend. And even if you're not like, if you don't have the same personality, even if you don't have the same interests, like, but you work together or you play together, you still have to be able to find a way to accomplish things together. And I think that combination of that experience as an athlete for most of my life and then being a comm major here, like taught me how to adjust my communication to pretty much anyone I talk to. And I think that's really powerful because when you meet people where they're at, they're so much more comfortable. They're so much easier to get to know. They're so much easier to to get them on the same page as you. So I think all of that combined has absolutely prepared me for the real world, like in the best way possible.
That was very well said. Yeah, because you in the real world, you really do face different opinions of things and different people's moods, different like genders, and like all of those make a difference in how you work as a team, and you have to work as a team.
Yeah.
And that's a great way of saying it. So throughout all the time that you've been at St. Norbert, whether it was you on the field or in the classroom with your friends, is there one memory that you're like, this is my all-time favorite moment?
Oh, you mean on the field or off the field?
You could say both.
Okay.
Whatever you want to say.
I would say it has to be, so when I was a junior, we were, for the 4 years previous, so not even when I was in school, 4 years previous, we had been in the conference championship and not won. So like so many times we were so close to getting to the NCAA tournament. And in our championship game, which was at home because we won the conference in the regular season, it was like crazy windy, like late fall weather. And one of our seniors who played defense with like the strongest leg on our team, she took a free kick from like 35 yards out, and the wind just carried it, and she buried her first goal of the season to win us the conference championship to take us to the NCAA tournament.
No way.
Like that was one of those moments where like everyone on our team had worked so hard, and then someone who hadn't even scored a goal that year as a defender, which is crazy.
Yeah.
She won us the tournament, and it was like such a team win. Like that was so special. And then that kind of plays into like it got us to the NCAA tournament. Yeah. So we got seeded against the number one team in the country because we had never been in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, so we played WashU, and they had let in, I think, like only 3 goals in the entire season. So number one team in the country, but also number one defense in the country. Oh. So we went into that game thinking like, okay, we just got to hang on. And for about 5 minutes, we were winning 2-0. So our other junior forward, Caitlin Schmitz, and myself both scored goals at like, I think it was like 8 minutes and 11 minutes. So we had the lead, and like afterwards, like even like the school was saying like the stream of the game spiked because they were like, oh my gosh, someone's beating WashU, let alone scoring 2 goals. Of course, they were like, their bench was so deep and they were so much stronger than us. They ended up like, coming in breaking ankles, and it was 5-2 we lost. But that ending of our conference season and to the start of that first NCAA experience, like that experience with those players, like that team, like that was a super special bond. That's probably like the best. That month was probably like the best month of college for sure.
That's a really, really cool memory. Yeah. And not only like that bond, not only does that carry on the field, but like we were talking about this before we started recording, like those memories and those friendships, you have those for the rest of your life.
Sure. Yeah.
Like some of my best friends are from St. Norbert.
Right.
And
me too.
Yeah. And that's who I talk to. That's who I visit. Like,
right. Yeah. It's so cool.
Awesome. Any like off the field mememories that really stand out?
I would say just like it was like the day to day that was the best. Like, we're in season, we're out of season, doesn't matter. But like you said, like going to the basement of the library to study with your friends, or just going to the caf, but just like how lucky I felt to like have just found a place where I was so comfortable, and how much fun everything was, even though like you're still working hard for soccer, you're still working hard for your classes. It just changed me in such a way that like sometimes I can't even like think about like what if I would have ended up somewhere else. If you ask Ellie, she would tell you that in the first 2 weeks of me being in college, she doesn't know if I spoke because I was so shy and so nervous. And this place just like totally got me out of my shell and into like the person I am now. So like, I think off the field, like it's all those small moments that added up, like the great experiences in the classroom, the great experiences with good friends and people you meet, and the person who swipes you in the caf who knows your name, and the omelet lady calling you honey in the morning, It's just like the simple stuff, but all of those things combined like made it such a special experience.
I want to touch on the fact that you talked about how you really came out of your shell. You're not the first person who's told me that. I experienced that when I came here. You really do. It's part of the St. Norbert mission is to develop the whole person. And while like on paper that might be like, oh, like that's cool. Right. But like it really does happen when you are at St. Norbert. You become your own voice. You become your own individual.
I think like the biggest piece for me was like I had no idea how impactful the liberal arts would be for me, because the exposure I had to so many different things in such a short amount of time, but like it just opened up my perspective so much. And I think that is more valuable than it's hard for us to articulate, even in recruiting, even in advertising. Like that value is something you can't replace, is to go to college at a liberal arts school for sure.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. So turning now to our lightning round, Tom, we'll have the stopwatch ready. So Katie, I've got 5 questions and a bonus round if we have time.
Okay.
But you can answer these as fast as you want. All right. You ready, Tom? Okay. Your favorite meal in the CAF?
Turkey shawarma.
Good one. Your go-to campus hangout spot?
When I was in college, it was the Reflection Lounge in the campus center.
Yes. Beautiful. Describe SNC in one word.
Community.
The best piece of advice that you ever received when you were a student?
Whatever your next choice is, the next right thing is the next right choice.
Love that. If SNC had a time capsule, what would you put in it?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably the jersey from my freshman year, because they were like parachutes that went down to my elbows and like past my knees.
That's awesome. Okay, do we have time for a bonus? Oh, yeah. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Ooh. I might feel like my 5-year-old's going to be disappointed if I don't answer this really well.
Okay.
Probably force field.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I know
we watch too much
time.
Incredibles, you know.
Oh, okay. That's very cool. So is there a certain reason why you'd have that? Or is it because
it just seems like the coolest. I don't know. I don't really have a good reason.
I love that.
Violet in the Incredibles can do force fields, so.
I feel like that's not a very common one that people would pick. But.
And I also feel like Violet's really shy and introverted. Yes. And that's me. So like to have force field ability, it's just like unexpected.
That's so funny. Oh, okay. Our Bible verse of this episode is Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. I really feel like this verse is kind of the essence of St. Norbert.
I think for me, it's like I ended up here unexpectedly, but when students come here, when people come here, you really find your place and find your calling. Like I said, it kind of took me a long and winding road to get back here as an employee, but like I was so drawn to come back and to like feel like I had such purpose to be here. I think that whether you stay at St. Norbert or you move on from here after you graduate, just the way it helps you find yourself and find what's important to you. And like I've talked a lot about this with our players, just like vocation, like really finding what matters to you so that you can make a difference in the world and not just doing what you have to do. Like, of course, like you have to have a job as an adult. You have to, there's certain things you have to do, but to be able to find your calling and wake up every morning and enjoy going to work, that's what really makes a difference in the world, is when people are where they're supposed to be and having energy and passion for what they do.
Yeah, agreed. And I feel like when people come into school, they are so stressed about finding that right major that's going to set them up for the right career path. And what they don't realize, and they will, is that you don't have to necessarily do what your major is. Like everything that you do in life, you have to trust in God's path, and you have to understand that, you know, you're going to have hurdles along the way. You're going to have a bending road, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah. My career path, like it was wild, but I always just did the next right thing and just like slowly found my way. So,
Yep. So cool. All right. So Katie, as we wrap up, do you have any kind of final words of wisdom for students who are thinking about St. Norbert, especially student athletes who are thinking about St. Norbert?
I would say that this place is so unique in that, like, yeah, you can look at Instagram and see what's cool, and you can like tour and think like, oh, this is a nice place to be. But like the value that the people here bring, like in our athletic staff, the amount of people who genuinely care about every single athlete, the way that they in their day-to-day work make sure that everyone is getting the attention and the care that they need. And the same goes for the professors. Like I had that experience as a student. Like they care about you. Like it's not like a, you know, big school where a TA is teaching you, or like they don't know your name. Like they know your name, they know your story, they know how you learn, like down to those like really fine details, but that make all the difference in the world. And that's hard to show a recruit. That's hard to show a student. But this place, like it will take care of you if you come here in the best way to push you to your limits, but also make sure that you get what you need.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for joining us.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. I know it's out of your comfort zone, so thank you for joining us. If you want to follow us, please give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Also, please share our episodes. And if you have any ideas for guests, Katie, if you have any ideas after this, please email the number two, the Tonight Show with a K, the Tonight Show at snc.edu. Again, that's the Tonight Show at snc.edu. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Katie, again, thank you for being on the show, and we will see you next time.
Go Green Knights.